Hi guys, it's Hanya here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna make another Christmas gingerbread house. I'm gonna use a really simple lace technique to create this beautiful pattern, and we're also going to use royal icing poinsettia flower to decorate the front of the house. So let's get started. First though, I'm gonna mark the height of the lace pattern that I want to make. I want the height to be same throughout the whole house, so you wanna include this lace design on all of the panels starting at the same height, so once you put the house together it looks nice and even. To make the lace, I'm using piping consistency icing, which is about a toothpaste thick. I'm making the lace slightly thicker than I would normally do, just because I wanted it to be really visible from the distance. Obviously you could make the lines a lot thinner if you wanted to. Making it thicker also makes it easier for a beginner to pipe. So if you're using piping tips, I would probably go with number 2 or even 3, that's fine. Once you are done making the lace pattern on this panel, this is a front panel I'm decorating, you're gonna repeat the same thing on all of the other panels, on the back panel and also on both of the sides panels of the house. Now we're gonna attach royal icing poinsettia flower. You can learn how to make these flowers in my other video. I'm just gonna put a little bit of icing on the back of the flower and then stick it directly onto the house or onto the panel. To decorate the bottom of the front panel, I'm adding 2 Christmas trees. Start by making a large dot and then pull the icing to the center towards you. And then dust them with white sanding sugar. To decorate the top, you want to add a little bit of royal icing and then you can attach a pretty snowflake. To decorate the front door, brush a very thin layer of white royal icing onto the cookie. You want to let it crust for a little bit, you don't want it to dry completely. And then take a sharp pin and run it through the icing, creating stars. This will give the cookie a frosted feel. Now take white royal icing 15-second consistency and you can outline and flood. Now take piping consistency icing and outline the whole cookie. While the icing is still wet, take white sanding sugar and dust the surface. To decorate the front, I'm using edible sprinkles. These are cute little holly leaves. And we're gonna add 1 tiny little berry. To make the windows on the side panels, you want to create an outline. I'm using a cookie cutter. You can also use other paper template or something else that you have on hand. And here I'm going to repeat the same thing like we did for the door. Make sure that you don't go outside of the marked area, and then just repeat the same thing using a needle tool or a pin, making stars. You may want to wipe the tip of the pin a few times, because as you are running through the icing is gathering on a tip. Alright, and now we're ready to make the frame. You want to repeat the same thing on the other side panel. Now take some white royal icing and just randomly pipe short lines or dots onto the frames, and then dust it with white sanding sugar. Alright, to put this together I'm using stiff royal icing, white royal icing to use as a glue. I line my work surface with some wax paper. I also have plastic wrap on hand and some paper towel to make sure that I have the right height to support the roof. I'm using my sprinkles containers for this. You want to apply icing on a bottom feet. I'm starting with the front panel, and now it's time to use something to support this so it doesn't fall, and then we can add the sides. And now this is the back panel. At this point you can make sure that it's all aligned, because icing is still wet, so you can still move it around. Once it hardens, it's all set. You won't be able to move the pieces anymore. I decided to trim the roof again like I did in my previous video for gingerbread house, because as you see the lace pattern is at the very top and the roof was covering most of it, so I wanted it to be visible, so that's why I trimmed the roof. Now make sure that it's aligned at the front and at the bottom. I noticed that they are starting to sink, so I'm gonna have to add a little bit of height to my supports. So I'm adding a piece of plastic wrap. Now to finish up, we need to decorate the roof, so I'm gonna be using the same tip. This is a star tip I used. So here it is. This is a very simple star tip, and you just want to start at the very bottom, and you want to layer the icing on top of each other. So you're basically piping, you're going slightly to the front and then you're pulling back. Once you're done, take some sanding sugar and dust the surface with sanding sugar. Alright, so now we're ready to remove the house from the wax paper. Just simply lift it up and you can put it on a cake plate for a really pretty festive display. Gather up some sanding sugar that's left on a wax paper and put it back into the container. Remove any cookie crumbs. And that's how you make this beautiful gingerbread lace house for holidays. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check out my other gingerbread house ideas that I have posted already on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.